Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtadhara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. 2-7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Canto 2 The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions, Text 1. So this is for celebrating Varahadeva's appearance. Everybody can please repeat it for me. Brahmā vacha yatra yataha chitti Taloduranaya Vibrat Krodim Tanum Sakala Yagya Maim Anantaha Antar Maharnava Upagatam Adi Daityam Tam Dangstra Yadrim Eva Vajra Duro Dadara Brahmā Yatro Yata Chitti. What is it? Oh, okay. Yatro Yata Chitti Talodaranaya Bibrat Kraudim Tanum Sakala Yagya Maim Anantaha Antar Maharnava Upagatam Adi Daityam Tam dangshta yadrim eva vrajra daro dadara. Brahmā yatra yata chiti talodharanaya bibrat. Kraudim tanum sakala yagya mayimanantaha. Antar maharnava upagatam adi daityam. Tung dangshta yadram eva vrajra daro dadara. Brahmā yatro yata chititalo dharanaya bibrat. Kraudim tanum sakala yagya mayimanantaha. Antar maharnava upagatam adi daityam. Tam dangshta yadrim eva vrajra daro dadara. Brahmā uvacha. Lord Brahmā said, Yatra, at that time, when Udyataha attempted Chittitala, the planet Earth, Udaranaya, for the matter of lifting, Bibrat, assumed, Kraudim, pastimes, Tanum, form, Sakala, total, Yagyamayim, all-inclusive sacrifices, Anantaha, the unlimited, Antar, within the universe, Maha Arnave, the great Garbha ocean, Upagatam, having arrived at, Adi, the first, Daityam, demon, Tam, him, Dashtaya, by the tusk, Adrim, the flying mountains. Eva, like Vrajradaraha, the controller of the thunderbolts. The Dara, pierced. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon Hiraṇyākṣa appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. Purport. Since the beginning of creation, the demons and the demigods, or the Vaishnavas, are always the two classes of living beings to dominate the planets of the universes. Lord Brahma is the first demigod, and Hiraṇyākṣa is the first demon in this universe. Only under certain conditions do the planets float as weightless balls in the air. And as soon as these conditions are disturbed, the planets may fall down in the Garbhodaka ocean, which covers half the universe. The other half is the spherical dome within which the innumerable planetary systems exist. The floating of the planets in the weightless air is due to the inner constitution of the globes, and the modernized drilling of the earth to exploit oil from within is a sort of disturbance by the modern demons and can result in a greatly harmful reaction to the floating condition of the earth. A similar disturbance was created formerly by the demons headed by Hiraṇyākṣa, the great exploiter of the gold rush. And the earth was detached from its weightless condition and fell down into the Garbhodaka ocean. The Lord, as maintainer of the whole creation of the material world, therefore assumed the gigantic form of a boar with a proportionate snout and picked up the earth from within the water of Garbhodaka. Sri Jayadev Goswami, the great Vaishnava poet, sang as follows: Vasati dashana shikare dharani tavalagna shashini kalanka kaleva nimagna keshavadrita shu kararupa jai jagadisha hare. O Keshava, O Supreme Lord, who have assumed the form of a boar, O Lord, the planet Earth rested on your tusk, and it appeared like the moon engraved with spots. Such is the symptom of an incarnation of the Lord. The incarnation of the Lord is not the concocted idea of fanciful men who create an incarnation out of imagination. The incarnation of the Lord appears under certain extraordinary circumstances, like the above-mentioned occasion. And the incarnation performs a task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. The modern creators of the many cheap incarnations may take note of the factual incarnation of God as the gigantic boar with a suitable snout to carry the planet Earth. When the Lord appeared to pick up the earth, the demon of the name Hiraṇyākṣa tried to create a disturbance in the methodological functions of the Lord, and therefore he was killed by being pierced by the Lord's tusk. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the demon Hiraṇyākṣa was killed by the hand of the Lord. Therefore, his version is that after being killed by the hand of the Lord, the demon was pierced by the tusk. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms this version. Om Jnana Timidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvan Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Makom Karitavachalam Pangam Langayatekarim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitaranam Vanchakalpadibishcha Kripasindu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation again. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon, Hiraṇyākṣa, appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. So yes, today is we're celebrating the appearance of Varahadeva. He is the boar incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have a picture here on the altar. If you look closely, we usually don't have this picture, but today is the appearance day, so we've had that picture back there for years in the Pujari room. And not every time on this appearance day, but we've done it a number of times. But Giridhari Priya Prabhu had the idea to put the picture there and make a nice garland. So, and you have Varahadeva there. He's lifting the earth, as we were just reading, with his snout. So, so yeah, we're celebrating his appearance today, and tomorrow we'll celebrate whose appearance? Yes. We'll have a big festival tomorrow for very important. So yeah, very auspicious. This week every year is very auspicious because you have Ekadashi, and then you have Varaha Dwadashi, and then you have Lord Nityananda's appearance. They all come. And does anything come after Nityananda? Narottam Das Thakur. Yeah. So you have, it's a week of festivals. Yeah, and then Gaur Purnima, 24th of March. So yeah, as Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that since the beginning of creation, there's been the demons and the demigods, or the Vaishnavas, are always the two classes of the living beings to dominate the planets of the universe. So there's always a, you could say, unspoken battle between the devotees of Krishna and the non-devotees of Krishna, or you could say a spoken battle, or in some cases it could even get into an actual battle, like, physical violence. Like in this case, you have Varahadeva taking care of, you have Varahadeva taking care of Hiraṇyākṣa. Means he killed him. So there's always these, this clash. Now, of course, in this particular age, we do not, as devotees or as aspiring devotees, or as servants of Srila Prabhupada, we're not going to go out and start, you could say, war in which violence is necessary with the demons. In other words, not going to kill any demons. Or as Bhakti Kevin calls it, he calls it Parashuram Sankirtan. Because Parashuram was the great Kshatriya who he just like the wind, or like the speed of mind. He was just going around and he was annihilating so many persons with his sword, right? He wasn't a Kshatriya. Okay. A what? Yeah, Chapriya. Okay, he's chopping, yeah. I'm going chopping, yeah. So yeah, that's not our type of Sankirtan for this age. It's not that in the morning we're going to read off numbers like that. But we have a different method, and that method is by, you could say, destroying the demonic mentality of people. And that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's method, that's Lord Nityananda's method. That's what we'll hear about more tomorrow, I'm sure. In the classes and the poems and all the different glorification of Nityananda Prabhu. I'll talk to you. So that's our method. Our method is, you could say, a more peaceful, or it's a different method than the Parshuram method. But nonetheless, it's still a battle. It's still a war, and Srila Prabhupada would use war terminology quite a lot in communicating to his disciples. He would say that, oh, the temples are not places for eating and sleeping, for taking prasadam and taking rest, right? But there are places to go out and drop, what did he say? Thousands? Did he say thousands or millions? Does anyone remember? Millions of bombs into the laps of the conditioned souls. And again, now these aren't bombs you drop from the sky, but they're books. And they're like ticking time bombs, right? Now, of course, as Srila Prabhupada himself used technology quite a lot in his preaching of Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada was not anti-technology. He used microphones. He was speaking into his dictaphone to record his purports. Prabhupada was very interested in using all different types of technology, and also Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada taken this from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the principle of using technology in Krishna service for spreading Krishna consciousness. So one method is, of course, book distribution, which is, Prabhupada would say, most important method. But there's also other methods. For example, there's a whole online world. Sometimes devotees are like anti, they don't want anything to do with it, which is understandable. Why? But there's a whole online world. Like in Russia, for example. Anybody from Russia here? I guess Dweja Money's in the kitchen, so. You're not from Russia, right? Huh? Close, neighbor. Yeah. So, in Russia, I remember Vijay Prabhu, because, he's a book minister, so he's a bookman, right? So, naturally, he's always talking about book distribution, he's always trying to hype it up. He's always trying to get everybody and their mother to go out. Even if they haven't been out for the last 20 years, there's still hope, right? There's hope for everybody to go out still, right? So anyways, Vijay Prabhu was in Russia, and he asked all the devotees, like quite a few devotees, packed room, a lot of devotees in Russia, and he asked him, he said, how many of you became devotees by reading Prabhupada's books? And of course, he was expecting everybody to raise their hand. I got a book at the Moscow Fair, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and my grandmother gave me a book, I read it, and then I came to the temple. And like only a few devotees raised their hand. And he was like shocked. He was like, oh, it's kind of, because generally you go to America, you go to India, everybody raises their hand, right? Which, yeah, I got a book, and probably many of you here got books, and the book interested them to come to the temple. Of course, there's other ways, though. So anyway, so he asked them, well, how did you all become devotees, so many of you? And they said, online preaching. Somebody was online, and they were introducing them to Krishna consciousness in different ways, kind of gradual steps. A lot of people through like Ayurveda and things like that. So yeah, there's different ways. And there's so many different ways. We're waiting for some devotees to enter. I don't know. See, that's the thing. It's like, do they really want to enter that arena, right? Because devotees want to stay away from online. What about Hollywood? Do they really want to go there? But we have a lot of good material, for example, to make good movies. Like all the pastimes in the Bhagavatam. There's so many beautiful, they're all beautiful, powerful. Like, what about the whole pastime of Lord Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj? What about Lord Ramchandra's pastimes? There's so many beautiful. What about the what about the battlefield of Kurukshetra, right? That'd be a war movie, right? So many. So yeah. So the idea is that there's different ways of influencing people or destroying their demonic mentality, and devotees should rack their brains how to introduce people to Krishna consciousness in all different types of ways. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada would use this war terminology, or we said we are soldiers in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. And I don't want to generalize too much, but every people you could say like criticize, or I don't say criticize, but they notice certain, you could say, characteristics of certain cultures or certain people in certain places of the world. In other words, there's certain type of conditioning, there's certain, that people have, behavior and so on. So, for example, someone was in Australia, and the Australian devotees were a little critical of somebody who was from America, a devotee from America. And he was saying, yeah, you American devotees just think, and then not do. And he said the Australians there are just do. They don't think, just do. Now, of course, maybe we want something in the middle, right? You think and then you execute. But Srila Prabhupada would encourage the devotees, you are all Americans. And he said, Americans, they think big, so you should do something. Try to do something big, right, for Krishna. So yeah, one is to rack our brains how to spread Krishna consciousness, or how to defeat, you could say, the raging atheism in people's hearts. But aside from racking our brain, we have to execute as well. Not just think, but we have to execute. And a part of, you could say, engaging in this war, if you want to use that terminology, is that it's very important that those who are, you could say, on the field, or those who just meet with people in general, they should know what they're talking about. Yeah, they should know what they're talking about. And aside from just knowing, we have to actually display how Krishna consciousness works. In other words, that it's effective. People should see that. Like one you could say, not main argument, but one argument that is thrown out by religious people is that you atheistic people, you messed up the world. It's just chaos. Who could argue with that, right? The it's a chaotic place, and it seems that it's getting worse in different ways. Which is indicating that, us religious people, we make the world a better place. Now, of course, the atheists would say, okay, well, so many wars went on in religion. We would say that, well, were they really religious wars, or were they just wars? People, you could say, mundane people in the garb of religious people fighting over property and so on, land and resources. In other words, in the Bali concept of life, we would say, yeah. And aside from that, just statistically speaking, so many wars that were started by non-religious people for non-religious purposes outweigh the religious wars. Anyone want to fact check that? I'm saying it, but as a movement, we have to show people that, hey, okay, you follow the mundane, hedonistic way of life. It's not good for you, it's not good for others, it's not good for the world. But we have to display it as a movement that that by following our particular tradition, it will be good for the individual. It will be good for the society. There is an effect. And the question is, are we showing people that? What do you think? Yeah? All right. So yeah, we have to show people that. So that's another point. So here in the Bhagavatam, what happened is Hiraṇyākṣa, who was the brother of Hiranyakashipu, two brothers. Hiraṇyākṣa was really mad after gold, and he was he was insanely after gold, in that he was just we could say mining the whole earth for all of its gold. I mean, he was on a real gold rush, as Prabhupada says, the great exploiter of the gold rush. And what happened, it's explained in the Bhagavatam, that because of that, the earth, Prabhupada says globe, it lost its balance, and it fell into the Garbhodaka ocean. And Lord Brahmā, he was wondering, okay, well, what do we do? And he was, talk about management problems, right? He was wondering, what do we do? And then at that particular moment, something came out of, it sounds amazing, right? Something came out of his nose. And it was a little, boar. It was Varahadeva. And then he expanded, it became gigantic. And he saved the earth from, the Garbhodaka ocean. I'm not sure what happened to all the people on the earth. It doesn't explain much, but and he had this big fight with Hiraṇyākṣa and eventually killed him. And as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, and Jiva Goswami explains, that apparently, or as they state, that the demon died by the hand of, or the hoof of Varahadeva. And then later he pierced him. And it says that sometimes these demons, or Krishna in the different incarnations, he would fight with these demons. Like if you're a very good, well-trained fighter, right? And somebody else is not so much. So you could, you could kind of joke with them for a little bit, and just have a good time. But ultimately, if you display your real expertise, then they're done. Like I remember years ago, I used to skateboard. And somebody challenged me. And the guy was like, practically professional. I was not at all close to that. But it was a game which, you perform a trick, and then he performs a trick, and there's a competition like that. I think they call it skate. Anyways, it doesn't matter so much, right? But so yeah, he was, messing around for a few minutes, and then he just, showed his real nature, and I lost. So here, Varahadeva was fighting with Hiraṇyākṣa, but he was just kind of messing with him, and then eventually just killed him. And then Hiraṇyākṣa is said to be Adi Daitya. Interesting, right? First or original demon. And also, as Srila Prabhupada mentions, it's a very important point that one should not, of course, generally people don't claim to be God, but one should not claim to be God if they can't do such wonderful things as Varahadeva here. And one should not believe those who claim to be God if they can't do such wonderful things as Varahadeva. There's other things that they should be able to do that they can't do. So, does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes. Yes.
Okay, if you will allow me, just to expand slightly on your...
Of course.
Your,
we're into expansion.
You're describing how Prabhupada wanted the temples to be places where we go and we defeat Kali with the bombs of his books. So I don't know how many of you know the name Kushakrata Prabhu. Kushakrata Prabhu, yes, he was a contemporary of mine, and he passed away in 2006 in Vrindavan. But he was pretty remarkable. He learned Sanskrit himself. He taught himself Sanskrit. And he eventually ended up, he did a lot of translation, and he also wrote poems in Sanskrit, believe it or not. And one of them, which was also, it appeared in the Vyasa Puja book in '78, I think it was. I put it into a poem, and so I'm just going to read that one verse describing how the bombs of the books are going down and defeating Kali. And in case you don't know what the word volley means outside of the context of tennis, it means, and I'll just quote the dictionary here for a second. Let's see, yeah. No, that's not it. There we go. A volley is a simultaneous discharge of a number of missiles or firearms. So in context of ISKCON is the simultaneous day-by-day discharge of thousands and thousands of books. So here's this little verse. Kaushalyadar yasya sahasra shastra shastrati varshai pratihanyatehi chundakale moha chamohatena namamitam Sri Prabhupada Devam. The fierce and formidable army led by wicked Kali is being slain by arrow showers, volley upon volley. Those arrows are his all-auspicious books of spotless fame. To Srila Prabhupada I bow, his glories I proclaim. And that's my comment on your class.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's distributing books. And then there is, which is a way to introduce people to Krishna consciousness. And then when they come, the people that come from book distribution, they have to see what Krishna consciousness is all about. And therefore there's devotees to show them. This is how you chant japa. This is how you have kirtan. They have to be perfect examples and teachers, and help people. So there's a whole, you could say, operation going on, from the boga shopping to the cooking to the cleaning to the taking care of the property. So it all goes together. So it's very important that everybody sees things like that. The deity worship. Ultimately, we want people to become attracted to Krishna. That's the whole idea. Krishna's there in the form of the deity. So cleanliness, yeah, we mentioned that, cleaning, but kitchen, we're going to get some new tables in there. And then we're going to get some more cooks, because people naturally like to go into places that are well maintained. Does anybody have any other questions? And some other things?
Hare Krishna, I have a question, but if there's a local question, you can take those first.
You could
this
ask.
Is Jalatala.
Yeah, do you listen to class every day?
No, I don't, but I have
Oh,
some
okay.
free time right
Okay,
now.
sure.
So-
You could ask your question.
Okay, so you were talking about how devotees often don't want to do online preaching because they just kind of don't want to get into the whole online situation.
Yeah,
So
some.
if like,
Some love
right,
it.
so, oh, right, yeah. I was wondering if you had any kind of recommendation for like how to sort of go into that arena without being contaminated, you know, like the whole bridge preaching without ending up on the wrong side of the bridge yourself. I wonder if you had any comments on that or any suggestions or advice.
Jumping off the bridge. Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because if we change our philosophy, we could get a lot more people. But that's not really what Prabhupada wanted, to change our philosophy. Or what to speak of when we change our principles. We get a lot more people. Right? We'll probably initiate 100 people this Sunday. You could continue with your, not whatever, onions and garlic or other. That's a small thing. I mean, gambling or whatever you're doing. So yeah, I mean, we could enter the arena, but we should keep the message pure and we should keep the message pure and our practices pure and not change the philosophy. I mean, you may preach in different ways, but yeah, there's a lot of ways to maintain our purity while we're doing that. And if you talk about bridge preaching, I guess we have to see what the result is. Are people, by someone's preaching, online preaching, are they crossing the bridge? Are they becoming devotees of Krishna with the right understanding, following principles, chanting 16 rounds? And if they are, and they have the right philosophical understanding and they're being trained properly, then it seemed like it's working. But if they're coming out on the other side, not with a clear idea of Krishna consciousness, kind of all types of jumbled ideas, then yeah, you could say it's questionable. So as Prabhupada would say, the basic thing is to maintain our purity in terms of our practice and not changing things. And there is a temptation to change things because you get more followers. And who doesn't want that, right? No, just joking. But so there's a temptation. But therefore, yeah, we have to have our strict, powerful sadhana, spiritual practices, so we don't fall to that temptation. But anyways, it's a big topic, so I hope that kind of satisfies your inquiry to some degree. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Do I have anything else to say? No, I thought that was a great answer about just maintaining our sadhana as pure as possible while kind of stepping into that space.
Yeah. And then it's not for everybody. I mean, some people will do it. Not everybody has to do it. Just like not everybody has to do so many things. Everybody has their service. So, yeah. I think Damodar, you had something?
It's actually really nice to be in the ambience of the devotees this early in the morning. I just wanted to make a comment just about the concept of preaching and just wanted to expand a little bit more. I was just with devotees and a senior devotee about a week ago, and we were discussing about preaching, and he made a valuable point of just we, in and of ourselves, are a valuable asset to preaching, just being who we are, and not just whether there's the concept of preaching traditionally may automatically be recognized as book distribution or Harinam or giving classes, which it is, but whether we're a new devotee or been around for some time, we're scared to go that route. It's like we already possess assets that make us valuable in preaching to certain people just by being who we are. And so whether we work at a gym or we're going to this or part of this community, if we're a skater, or part of the hardcore community, which there was a whole scene where devotees were preaching the hardcore scene.
Oh yeah, it's still going.
A musician, or whatever it may be. It's like, what is the essence of book distribution? We're saying a few things just to hopefully invite them to the temple, hoping that they will come.
Yeah.
And by the association, they get purified, they become attracted. So whether they meet you through them handing them a book, or you meet them through work, or through this place or that place, the same essence is there. And it even serves as a better platform, because you're already trusted within a community. You know, they know you, they recognize you, and it could be as simple as, hey, we got this meditation going on Thursday nights. If you want to come by and check it out, and then things expand from there. But I just wanted to just lessen the bar. Preaching could sound so heavy, like, hey, let's go annihilate the demons, kill the demonic. It's like, it could just be as simple as, here's a Krishna Lounge card.
Yeah.
To somebody at your gym.
Yeah.
Or at work.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there's just, I mean, devotees should enter different, you could say, arenas, or where different places where people, live and work and so on, and try to encourage them to check out Krishna consciousness. Just like there's a yoga scene. That's one scene. That's not the only scene. There's so many scenes, yoga scene. But devotees should be there, trying to bring people to Krishna consciousness. There's colleges. I mean, I think there's something like 10 community colleges here in San Diego. It's a lot. And then there's 4. Well, there's USD, UCSD, SDSU, and Cal State San Marcos. 4 big universities. It's a lot of students. So that's a very important. That's a very important place to be. The colleges, because you have young people not sure what they're going to do with their lives, and their brains, at least some of the brains, I think, are still firing, there. So to try to encourage those people is also very important, college. And then therefore you have college clubs, devotees start. Like Tushta Krishna Prabhu, he still has a club in Denver. I went to the university, and I spoke at his club. It's a small club. It was, maybe 10, 15 people there. But they're into it. The kirtan, or somebody's cooking prasadam, and they really like it. And Tushta Krishna Prabhu, he has made so many devotees like that. It's not some huge, massive college program or something. It's small. Just a few people in a room, but he's made a lot of devotees like that over the years. Of course, he's Tushta Krishna Prabhu, a very saintly devotee, so. But that's there. And then you have restaurants, right? That's a whole, the restaurant scene, to spread Krishna consciousness. And as you're mentioning, just, working, you're going to work and inviting people. So there's so many different places we could go and try to encourage people.
Just to comment on the college preaching. Yeah, actually in the mid-90s in Chowpatty, His Holiness Varahadeva Maharaj and all the devotees there was a whole wave of brahmacharis joining the ashram. And what they realized, it was from the Mumbai college preaching.
Yeah.
And what they realized was that the students were becoming a valuable asset to preach to the other students.
Yeah.
And so, because the students trusted the other students,
yeah,
and they just kept making devotees left and right because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite, them setting up places at colleges in India. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, to have a little place near the college. inviting people and having classes and kirtans and stuff. So, anyways, there's a lot of expansion. Does anybody have any other? Okay, Chad, and then
Hare Krishna. I was just going to ask. It's goes along with the online question. What do you think would be the most effective way to spread Krishna consciousness, to get it out there, and also to bring in devotees? Like, for example, one thing that is a little bit different online that I've seen are interviews with devotees. That seems to be pretty effective. I don't know. Do you want to comment on any of that?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm the best person to ask. I'm the right person to ask. Well, does anybody have any ideas?
What do you mean by interviews? Like a TV interview with a Swami, or like an interview one devotee interviews another one devotee interviews another devotee, and that's how you become a Krishna consciousness?
Well, someone could have a podcast and interview a devotee, but I mean, there's a lot of ways that you could do an interview. I'm just, me personally, I've seen podcast kind of interviews.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for different places in the world. I mean, like in India, it's a whole different world over there. I mean, people grow up with Krishna more or less. They know about him, or they have some inclination. I mean, Prabhupada said that it's running through their blood, their inclination to take to Krishna consciousness. Or they grow up Hindus, it's, there's some inclination there. So getting online and doing some, short, reels about certain topics, I mean, it's much easier to check those people because they already have an inclination. They're familiar with it. So yeah, that's like a whole other world. Of course, we're not in India, so I'm just making the point. So in America, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of success rate as compared to India. I mean, devotees do get followers. They do get people joining their clubs and groups and retreats and things. But it's definitely a big field. It's open. But the basic thing is, I mean, I want to go to TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Basic thing, people are making short videos about, certain elements of philosophy of Krishna consciousness or kirtan or. Do you have anything about that? You're a young man. You should know these things.
Okay. But yeah, on Chad's point, I just remembered, before I met the devotees, actually, I remember watching a Joe Rogan episode, his podcast channel, where he was interviewing Raghunath Prabhu. And I watched that video, and I remember one thing that I was like, wow, this is very amazing. This guy spent so much time in India. He was a monk. I didn't tie together that he was a Hare Krishna, but I got the idea that he was a Krishna Ram Bhakta, and that he was talking about some principles. The one thing that I picked up from it was actually I stopped eating at restaurants after I watched that video, because he says that food consciousness of the cook goes into the food, and that when they're at the temple in India, they would only eat from senior devotees or food that they cooked from themselves. And I heard that, I was like, wow, that's very amazing. So then I stopped eating at restaurants there after watching that podcast episode. So I feel like maybe...
You're a natural devotee.
Hare Krishna. No, I just thought it's very nice that even if I didn't get the whole thing, but I got like at least one principle.
Yeah, trying to make an advancement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like Raghunath and Kaustubha, they have their Wisdom of the Sages, right, Bhagavatam. Now, you would wonder how successful that program would be if somebody else did it, who didn't have the charisma or you could say, if you want to call it, profile or reputation of Raghunath, for example. I mean, he has a whole history in the what hardcore scene. He built up followers over the years, and then he entered the yoga scene, and he has a whole. And then he started it. You know, he had some. How much would that be attractive to people? I don't know. So definitely, if somebody becomes let me say, famous or whatever, that may help. So, all right, I'll become famous then. Just like you see with George Harrison, right? I mean, if somebody else made that song, "My Sweet Lord," I mean, but as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Whatever a great man does, come and follow. So, but yeah, there needs to be a buildup of interest in what you have to say. Therefore, austerity, actually. Austerity is very important. You perform austerity, Shakti comes, some power comes. You have to have some power. And again, it's not everybody's thing. Not everybody has to enter that online arena. Okay, Jordan, and then we go to, yes.
So I just had to do with the online question, just about the bridging. And I guess I wanted to ask, and bring up too, but also see how you think about it. If it's truth, right, then it'll last, right? It'll last beyond the discussion anyway. So yeah, I just think that that's not something that you need to worry about at the end of the day. If it's true for you, if what you're talking about is the truth.
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, do you understand? Okay. Anyways, thank you for your comment. Okay. Yes, Dujamani?
It's also in regard to online preaching. One of my god brothers, his name is Nitya Prabhu, and he, with his crew, organizes this big mantra concerts. And they, all the devotees come, they play different instruments. Actually, more than 1,000 people show up. And then they get very nice feedback. Actually, one person said that we used to go to nightclubs and drink and go wild, but now we don't have to do that. It's all holistic and Krishna conscious.
Yeah, it's amazing how devotees, like back in the early days, you could look it up. It's kind of interesting video to look up, but I'm not Shivaram Swami. Shachinandan Swami, Harikesh Swami, who else? Krishna Chaitra Prabhu. Anyways, a number of devotees in Europe, they had this whole band, and they would travel around all places in Europe, and the place would just fill up. Quite a lot of people, and they weren't famous in the material world, but somehow or other they got all those people. Of course, it was a different, it was a certain time that was going on there, right? People were hungry spiritually. That has a lot to do with it. But still, they'd fill up the place. You look it up, and chanting Hare Krishna. So yeah, that's nice method.
There's also some statistics for 2023 from online preaching, when devotees distribute books and get people's contacts, and also on certain programs. They've received about 1,463 contacts, and most of them declined. They didn't stay to the program. But 284 people, which equals to about 20%, they became consistent in attending programs. And
20%.
20% of people, So, and they, some of them are about to get initiated, and they're practicing very seriously. And it's been going on like that for about 5 years in Russia. They're just collecting contacts and reaching out to people. It's quite amazing.
Yeah. All right. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, may I make some comment about it?
Okay.
That This is very practical, that because of when online preaching, then people have some interest, and they how to say, respond on it. And also I have some question, I don't know, maybe when I was in Poland, in Radyum Swami make this Woodstock and Polish tour every year. It's maybe last 30 years. And on Sankirtana, I met many people which said that, oh, I know these books. I ask, do you read it? And they don't want to ask answer. And so, and also many questions was in some devotees who organizer, manager of this project. He said that he met people in Poland which has some influence, some money, and they said that Hare Krishna movement, you speak very nice, but we can't do like accordingly what you speak.
Yeah.
And this big problem because of we distribute books, and books written how to live, how to practice.
Yeah.
But no example in the real world, and so people just read book and frustrated after.
I mean, there are examples. There might not be any examples around them, but there are also cases where people read the books and they become devotees, even without associating with other devotees. They just start chanting, they start following, they start doing everything. So there's also other examples. And I mean, a lot of people identify as Hare Krishnas. Like a lot of people we wouldn't think. They say, oh, what's your religion? So I identify as like a Hare Krishna, but you think, oh, they never come to the temple, they never, but they have picture of Krishna, they're doing some chanting or whatever. So there's a lot of things going on that we don't know, and some of them that we do know, that, like Tirtha Maharaj was mentioning to me, because San Diego is quite a place where they come and they go. It's a kind of it's an expensive place, and people tend to move on quite a lot, go to Texas or Arizona or whatever. But he was just saying that over the years and all the preaching at the lounge, that he's had many people contact him, and he's seen many people over the years who move and they go here and there in different places, but they keep Krishna consciousness within their mind. They identify as devotees. And some of them become, full on, but some of them, there's some transformation going on. Anyways, all right. No, he asked. Okay, Grantrad Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Second time. No, stop.